Aloha, I'm Felicia Miller Johnson, and I conduct work life video interviews with career professionals that become an all intuitive conversation. Aloha, welcome to another episode of All Intuitive Conversation. Today, I have the privilege of connecting with Maribel Ortega. So let's bring her to the screen. Aloha, Maribel.
Hello, Felicia. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to having this connection with you. I took it as it was no accident because today I was on LinkedIn, and this is where we were originally performing this interview live. And I saw you had your own show going today.
True, that's correct. I
Yes.
I interviewed. I had a guest on my live show, also a live show, managers to leaders.
Okay. And so the number 6 stood out um at that time. So tell me about your show.
What I do in my show is invite professionals from different areas of expertise. And what I am particularly interested in is in understanding inner leadership and what they do. And what I mean by inner leadership is instead of life happening to you and you just reacting to it, taking control and leading it in a direction that you would like it to go, at least.
Mhm. Okay. So it's connecting because already the cards that came out while you were sharing about your show was release and then the king of wands. And so the words that kind of stood out was because when you were talking about leadership, it says endings that lead to new beginnings. And that's what kind of stood out because like I said, it was 6. So 6 is, I was like, oh, she's new doing her show.
Yeah.
So what was it about your show that did you decide you wanted to do a show? Like what was that journey like for you?
Well, I started first last year with a friend and colleague a podcast. And
Mhm.
our podcast is called Audaciousness, and this is recorded. In this podcast, we showcase individuals who set themselves bold and audacious goals, and we have conversations with them to understand how to be audacious. And we've been doing this for 1.5 years, and I wanted to do something on my own that
Mm.
was connected with what I'm interested in my work. So I started thinking, well, but I don't want to do a podcast. It's a lot of work. The posts, the post editing and
Mhm.
etc. So I wanted something more, yeah, live, something that you just record it and it's there. So that's why I decided to go for a LinkedIn Live, and LinkedIn is the space where I feel this in social media where I feel most comfortable in.
Mhm.
Um, and then I was thinking, what what is it that we're going to be talking about? And I'm interested in what people are going through and their expertise, and everyone who has some kind of personal success. And in that case, it really doesn't matter whatever success means to you, then that also means that you have been able to organize your life in a way that has allowed you to achieve whatever it is that you wanted to achieve. And that's what I call inner leadership. And that's what I um, aim to help my clients with,
Mm.
ending self doubt, increasing their assertiveness, increasing their confidence, And yeah, that resulted with very little preparation and just thinking, what am I going to call it? I'm just going to start it that way. And well, it's the sixth episode was today.
Yes. Okay. So, well, I intentionally held off reading the bottom of the card because it was like I wanted to hear what you were going to share. And so, what on this one, the first one, when it talked about release, this at the bottom it says endings that lead to new beginnings, the need to release situations or people that hold you back, spiritual transformation. And as you were sharing the story about how you used to do a podcast, right? But you had someone else that you were doing that with. And not that this was I don't sense or feel like a negative energy, but it was just a time for you to be able to release that particular partnership in order to go on your own and do your own show, which should here, sitting here on this throne of crown, it says at the bottom, motivational, inspiring, theatrical, ambitious, take a leadership role, step into the spotlight, which is what you did. You're talking about leadership, but in a way, that is what you did as well. It sounds like having the own leadership and stepping into the spotlight because this is a video show. It wasn't an audio, it wasn't podcast, or anything like that, but it was video and it was live. And it says public speaking. Keep your eyes on the big picture. Communicate your vision. Don't be sensitive to criticism. So it's like, okay, yeah, you stepped into this new role, and these are the things that you did with that. So the next question that comes up was that word about criticism. What areas do you feel as though you may have held on to of being criticized for the things that you may have done in your past?
You mean the things that I have been criticized
Mm-hmm.
that I may have done? Hmm. Um, Many, I think probably dropping out of med school
Mm.
25 years ago. That was I wanted to study literature in the Dominican Republic, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that it was like really viable or like a real option. So because I was good at school in academics, I was well just good at everything. Then like the natural thing was to well then study medicine because many people in your family in my family are doctors. So I started that, and I was really bad at being a student of medicine, at memorizing all these lists, and I was really bad at exams. So at a particular point in the eighth semester, I just realized, okay, I just need to accept I'm not having fun and I'm not succeeding. I need to do something else. So I dropped out, and I think that's something I criticized myself a long time for
Mm.
for doing that, and that other people thought, well, after 5 years, why would you drop out?
Mm.
Um, but still, yeah, that's something that I had to do.
Well, you're in line with that because the card that came out here is a trigger statement and it literally says, why am I here? The theme of that was the bliss. Like you were in school, like, okay, this is not making me happy. I'm not succeeding.
Mhm.
I need something invigorating and literally questioning yourself as to why am I here. But the true statement says, I make a difference. And it says, you will have the motivation you need to express your light. Know that what you do today makes the world a better place. And it is something that there's this perception that you're a doctor and that's the only way that you can help and provide and have, the the expectation that you're going to make all this money and all this and have a family of doctors. But it's like chill. The encouragement that your spirit team's kind of giving is that you're on this path that you had to do for Mary Bell. Like just because you're not a quote unquote doctor or whatever the case may be, what you're bringing this leadership is just as important. It's just different. You had to step from behind this whole podcast not being seen to now moving to this video and helping people and reaching. Because like I said, it was no accident. I just happened to go into LinkedIn. I was like, oh, I said Mary Bell. I was like, she's doing it live right now. And I'm like, here she's gonna be this guest. And so I kind of popped on and you were engaged, basically doing what we're doing here. We're doing that on, your own. So it's that you're making a difference. You really don't know who's going to be touched and watching the show in that regard. But yeah, we can think that's a criticism, but you had to find what your own bliss is, in your
Absolutely.
in your path, right?
Yeah.
So with that, hmm, how do you just kick your feet up and relax?
You want me to take my feet up and relax?
I said, how do you? Yeah, like how do you
How
just
I
kick your
relax?
feet up and relax?
Okay,
Mhm,
okay, gotcha. Um, I meditate.
mhm,
I I love reading. And and another kind of meditation that brings me down is to go jogging, even if it's not relaxing, but
mm,
it does me well. Um, so yes, well, as you can see, I read a lot,
mhm.
and that's definitely something that takes me out of my life, whatever it is that's going in my life, and I can just beam my mind to experience something else.
Tell me about the last book that you read.
That one is quite in quite, let's say, personal, but I'm happy to share it with you. It's a book about personal development, and it's connected to having a narcissistic parent and how to deal with that,
Hmm. Okay.
which has been for me this year a revelation, and that has helped me leap in my personal development, understanding that, and how to navigate that relationship.
Hmm. Okay. How long ago did you read that?
Hmm. That in particular, I would say like 1.5 months ago. I've read other things since then, but that's the one that came to my mind when you asked me. Because maybe I read some romance novel that I don't even remember the topic or the so less important things like a serious book. That's why I thought about that one.
Hmm. Well, it's no accident. Like I said, the one that came to your mind and showing, because the thing about it is you were speaking your truth, because that shared a little bit. Like I said, you read other books besides that, but you kind of had this hesitation, and you even said it was like a personal thing. But what happened was, I think, chill, that they were saying to be able to release any judgment or shame that you may have affiliated with the fact that you're saying, okay, if it's a narcissistic parent, if saying I read this book, maybe saying that my parent is narcissist, like there's something wrong with that, or there's going to be some judgment on me, or some judgment on my parent, or I don't love them, or the case may be. And it was like that was an opportunity to speak your truth. It's not like you had to go into a whole bunch of details to share about what that situation is, but releasing any shame of like, oh well, this was my situation, that this book resonated with me in some shape or form because of that. And so that is finding that there will be someone else, because you're not the only person that's had maybe experience of that they will connect with you. But it wanted to give you the opportunity of how you can share without feeling like you're having to shame someone else. You're just speaking your truth.
Yes, certainly. Um, Shame is one feeling, and guilt is the other, because there are things that as a child you are expected to feel or to be. You have to love your parents, And well, I disagree. If the conditions are there, then yes, that would be an ideal situation. But that's something that I want to learn to not feel guilty or feel shame about feeling that I need distance.
Hmm. So the next question card that came up was about ask. So who could you ask for help in order to release this from you?
Hmm. I have the feeling that I am working on it already with a therapist to come to terms in a way that is okay for me and that doesn't affect me emotionally. Who else I could ask? You know what would be nice? If someone is listening or watches uh, this conversation and they have been in a similar situation that they feel that one of the parents was had a narcissistic personality disorder, they can reach out to me and we can talk about it. And just a conversation with some, I have never had that, a conversation with someone who has experienced something similar growing up.
Mm. Hmm. That's one of the first steps. Like I said, because now that you shared that you read this book, and now that you're saying this, if someone aligns and connects with this, now you're able to potentially like, oh yeah, let's have a conversation about this that can help lighten some of that load. So, as you were contemplating and thinking about who it is that can help me, I wanted to go to the Divine Feminine um, deck, and Yemoja came up.
Oh, I love her.
Yes.
Yes, in Spanish we call her Yemaya.
So you recognize her?
I think so. I think yeah, I think it must be Yemaya. I know it from the Yoruba tradition in Cuba.
Mm.
I don't know if it's the same, but it sounds similar, the
It
name.
probably because I'm probably not pronouncing it right. You said say it again. So how did you say it?
Yemaya.
J Maja. See, I'm pronouncing it with the Y's. So she showed up for me because today you were another guest that I felt compelled to ask, and I'm going to read what they have to share about her, the meaning of your name. Do you know the meaning of your name?
Um, my name is the short version of a compound name. So Maria Isabel,
Mhm.
people whose name is Maria Isabel, then it can be shortened to Maribel. And beyond that, then I don't know, we would have to see what Maria means and Isabel.
So if you look at this card, and when I looked up the meaning of your name means star of the sea, and that's where she's in. It has the light behind her, and it's a compound, like you said. It's star of the sea and beautiful. And it's not lost upon me the fact that she's in a sea, the fact that she has a dark hair and what the light behind her, what that looks like a sea, is coming to you to resonate with you of who she who she is. So, um, let's learn 194 a little bit more about what guidance that she may be coming to you. And it says, the goddess of all that flows. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. Users say Yamanja represents the creative force of the unconscious, the secret depths that bring the unseen into the physical realm. So that immediately is already aligning with the whole message about what was not seen about your book and you sharing, bringing that to light. The African goddess Yamanja gave birth to all the 14 gods and goddesses in the Yoruba religion. She is caring and nurturing, and yet also fiercely protective and strong with a desire to relieve her children of any struggles or sorrows. Connecting back to, as you talk about your childhood story, the sorrows you may have experienced having had a parent that was um, having narcissistic tendencies to help to relieve that sorrow. She is worshipped at the ocean or any flowing body of water. Though it says that her true home is in the Ugan River in Nigeria. She is considered to be a mermaid whose energies, blessings, and power flow through all forms of water. Again, back to what your name means. Cleansing, renewing, inspiring, and reminding us of all the limitless love we are. In Brazil and Uruguay, she is offered succulent food and gifts on tiny boats cast out to the sea from the beaches. Her worshippers ask her to give them her blessings so their desires in their new year can manifest. She is the queen of the ocean, the ruler of the subconscious, and the creative force that allows you to translate the ineffable into art. As the mother of all, she is the energy that brings new life into this world. It says when you get her card, Yumanji creates a flow where before there was a block, which is kind of like what you were having before, or a stagnation in your life force. When we feel uninspired or stuck in life or in a creative endeavor, from having a child to writing a book, Yumanja is the feminine essence that sets our energy back in motion. As a mermaid, she exists both in the world and also in the unseen depths. She can help us to dive down deep into the unconscious or into the collective unconscious and retrieve the hidden secrets or the wise pearls that were needed to integrate now for our life in the flow again. So that was a hidden secret that you had about your family that needed to just briefly resurface and to be removed. As the queen of the ocean, she baptizes us to start over, which you go back to the very beginning, you had to release that. And as I said at the bottom, you needed a new beginning. Okay. She baptizes us to start over, to begin again right now, to let everything become brand new. She encourage us to use water as a ritual to send out our offerings to her, to bless our bodies in a warm bath, or to walk along a body of water and allow its perspective to give us the answers or blessings we seek. Yamanja wants to cleanse us of thoughts that are holding us back. Why do children calm down after a bath? Why do we feel healed and more centered after a nice long soak? Water is the element that held us in the womb. The return to our first and most primal element, the loss of gravity, the freedom of buoyancy. This allows us to release feelings or thoughts of being trapped or stuck. Your mantra reminds you to use your tail. You're not of this earth, you're of the sea, which
Wow.
is what your name means. Star of the sea and beautiful.
I love the meaning.
Mm.
It's great. Lots of it makes sense.
Yeah. So the next question is and it's interesting because now that you make it, because you remember in the beginning of for the behind the scenes when I said I didn't have my water,
Mm-hmm.
because usually I'm like I always have my water, like sitting right here. I was like, wait, I don't have my water, so like doing it. Let me go back and get my water. So now I realize what the importance of that question is about the water. So
Okay.
connecting with you and resonating with you. So the next question I have for you is, when's the last time you just took a bath, soaked, relaxed, or had a great glass of water?
Uh, Took a bath and soaked in the. I can't remember. Years ago. Many years ago.
Okay. So you're receiving message, an invigorating message to take that spiritual bath in order to, as you get ready to go to this next journey, as you asked for assistance and wanting to be able to release any trauma or insights in regards to having this parent, um, like that is going to help you. You've gone too long. The mermaid has been out of the water. You need to put her back into the water because that's who you are. That's who you resonate with. It's your name. It's the star of the sea. It's you're beautiful, and they encourage you to.
That's really interesting. I just had a couple of weeks ago, and this year with all these new insights and revelation of understanding more of my own life,
Mhm.
this vision that I need to move. So at some point in my life later, that I want to be close to the sea. And I have this vision of a little house, something very, very small, but from there, from the terrace or balcony, whatever, I can see the sea and I can walk. It's such like a relatively short distance, so that I can go to the sea. And I've just kind of like this past couple of weeks we were traveling in the south of Europe, and I discovered this country that I had never, I mean, discovered in the sense I've been, for me it's the first time that I went to Montenegro, it's called, and I fell in love with it. And when I was there, and the coast and the bays were so beautiful, I thought I need to buy a house here. I need to live here by the sea. And that just makes lots of the sense with what you're saying now.
Which goes back to the phrase on here: communicate your vision, which you just did. So it becomes starting that process to release some of that other stuff that's burdening you and following up on that. Because, like I said, it's no accident. It's who you are, it's a craving that you have. And the fact that, that's that place where you're going to be able to go and kick up your feet and just relax, maybe that spot for you. And so now it's even making another connection point. Uh, Consider the winter. This is what we're filming like in the summer, but think
Mhm.
about what can you do by the winter that can help you to get closer to that vision that you have.
Mm. Well, definitely that's when I don't want to be here in the winter time because I want to be by the coast. I grew up in an island
Mm-hmm.
uh, in the Caribbean, and well, I guess that's something that I saw growing up very easily. Whenever you go outside, it was very. I live close to in Santo Domingo, close to the sea, and I guess that's something that that water and being able to connect to that that I missed. And my idea is, well, during the winter time when it's like very dark here and where I it's like honestly boring. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have this little place of mine where I can escape and yeah, and feel at home, close to the sea. That would be amazing.
Okay. Don't change your hands. Don't move. Stay right where you are. So it goes back to this visual picture of you showing your hand to your chin and you're thinking about this. It's it's time. Asking yourself, what do you need to do in order to make that vision reality? And like I said, it's not an answer that you have to give right now, but that is something that I think if you take that bath and think
Mhm.
more about that flow, the energy, the information will come to you even easier.
Okay, great. I
Okay.
I will do that.
Indeed. Well, Maribel, it has been a pleasure connecting with you today. Thank you for those that have engaged with us. Looks like we had a Bashar Aloha to tune in while we were connecting. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until we meet again next week, I'm Felicia Miller Johnson, and this has been an All Intuitive Conversation.